All right, welcome everybody to the Lakers Legacy podcast where it's going down. We're yelling timber. Lakers better move, they better dance on defense, but like in a good way. Or else this series is over. I'm your host, Jonathan Hernandez, and today I am riding solo. Lakers are down 1-3 to the Minnesota Timberwolves and have one game left to extend this series potentially. Today, in this episode, I'm going to talk to you guys about what I think are the Lakers' biggest issues that have led to their demise in this series. And then I'll also try and give you guys some hopium and highlight some law of averages statistical points of note that I think could level out and shift things back in the Lakers' favor. So, without further ado, let's get into my main issues that I think have plagued the Lakers in this series. These are not all encompassing. The Lakers have a myriad of issues that they have to work through against the Timberwolves. A lot of credit goes to the Wolves for just being the deeper team, the more athletic, explosive, and physical team, and honestly, just the smarter and more well coached team as well. But with that said, let's start with my number one main issue that I want to highlight. And this is going to be pretty obvious, but number one, the Lakers just haven't had a lob threat all series. You guys know that I highlighted Jackson Hayes at the top of this series as a potential sneaky factor for the Lakers because of how the Dallas Mavericks handled the Timberwolves last season and how Luka Doncic particularly leveraged the vertical lob threat ability of guys like Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively to eventually beat the Wolves in 5 games. And yet, Jackson Hayes has completely been taken out of this series. JJ's reluctance to play Hayes has been a problem. Now, Hayes has not done himself any favors as well, but I think JJ Redick's mindset from the outset to have such a short leash on Jackson ended up being this sort of self-fulfilling prophecy that kind of got into Jackson's head, and it works both ways, right? You can blame both parties. You can blame JJ Redick for not having enough trust in Jackson Hayes. You can blame Jackson Hayes for not being mentally tough enough and also not being tough enough as a rim protector. But I just feel like if JJ Redick had a more intentional and purposeful idea for how to utilize Jackson Hayes at the beginning of the series. And I'm not necessarily saying he didn't, but it just looks like he didn't with how short of a leash he had on him. I think the Lakers would have been in a much better position if JJ Redick knew how to maximize Jackson Hayes' ability. Because at the end of the day, Jackson Hayes does one thing well on the offensive end. He screens, he rolls, and he jumps high. Those are the same things that Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively can do, even though I know that they are much better players than Jackson Hayes. They have higher basketball IQ, they're stronger, they're more explosive, etc. But we've seen Jackson Hayes be a legitimate lob threat in the regular season and throughout his career. The fact that the Lakers have only gotten Jackson Hayes 3 lobs this entire series, and he's only played anywhere from 4 to 8 minutes in any one game. This is a big reason why the Lakers are losing. They don't have that north to south attack on the basket. Their ability to get easy buckets is almost non-existent without an alley-oop threat like Jackson Hayes. And Luka Doncic in particular has thrived by having a vertical lob threat and spacer next to him in the pick and roll game. To remove that aspect of the game from Luka Doncic's arsenal is almost damning. And we're seeing why the Lakers have had such trouble with their offense. There is no release valve. Everything is packed in the paint. The Lakers are forced to settle for 3-point jump shots. There is no other outlet to go to because the Lakers don't have that athletic battering ram to the basket in Jackson Hayes. So that's my number one main issue that the Lakers have had against the Timberwolves this series, the lack of a legitimate lob threat. Number 2, let's talk about rookie coach growing pains. And the issues with not utilizing Jackson Hayes properly kind of perfectly segues us into this discussion on JJ Redick, who at the end of the day has done a phenomenal job all season sort of dealing with his players' personalities, dealing with the constantly shifting roster that the Lakers have had. They've had like 3 or 4 different iterations of this roster. So by all accounts, JJ Redick has had a phenomenal year as a first-year head coach. But in this playoff series in particular, we have seen him sort of struggle with the in game adjustments, the game to game adjustments, and struggle with his own resolve as a coach. Because as last game showed, he just hasn't trusted his players enough. He hasn't trusted the players who got him here enough. And it's so weird because the way that he handled the end of the regular season by working up Dalton Connect back into the rotation, getting his confidence back up, by playing guys like Trey Jameson and Christian Coloco. I know that's more of a front office thing, but the way that he was working the rotations to have like a solid 8 or 9 to 10 man rotation that he could go to in a pinch towards the end of the season, and then to not even see that materialize in the playoffs is pretty disappointing. And I know the onus is also on the players, but again, this is a two-way street. It goes both ways. And I think the players have not felt, backed by JJ Redick, especially Jackson Hayes, right? He gets 2 fouls and he's immediately yanked. Why is he getting yanked after 2 fouls? He's not even going to play anymore. So it doesn't matter. Last game, Jackson Hayes probably had his best 4 minute stint in the playoffs as a Laker. He had an alley-oop lob. He had a couple nice screen plays. He had 3 rebounds off the bat, couple of offensive rebounds. He gets his second foul and he's out of the game. And that's the last we hear of him. That's the last we hear of a lot of players because, again, the Lakers starting 5 ended up playing the whole second half for the first time in NBA playoff history. And so, yeah, we are in real time watching JJ Redick's growing pains. And it's understandable, right? We don't really knock him for it, but this is what happens when you have a first year head coach and you're trying to reach championship aspirations. You're eventually going to hit a road bump, and how he responds in real time is going to make or break your season. And so far, it looks like it's about to break our season, unfortunately. Last game, you kind of saw JJ Redick have to resort to pulling the panic lever pretty early. And you understand why he wanted to go with his guys, with that 5-man unit of Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, DFS, LeBron James, and Luka Doncic that held the Lakers' best net rating throughout the second half of the season. You understand why he wanted to lean on that group till the very end. But at the same time, to not have the presence of mind to understand that the Lakers only had like a day of rest in between, and now we're just going to play a 40-year-old LeBron and a Luka Doncic who just had a stomach bug and hasn't been 100% well-conditioned for the second half of this season, to have them play a full 24 minutes against a grueling, gritty Minnesota Timberwolves team. I don't know. It doesn't speak to great foresight and presence of mind from JJ Redick's end. Even though he told his players, hey, let me know if you guys need a timeout. Let me know if you guys need a spell or some rest. He should know his players better at this point, right? LeBron James isn't going to ask to be sat down. Austin Reeves is not going to ask to be sat down. Rui Hachimura, et cetera. Luka Doncic is definitely not going to be asked to be sat down. But by the end of the fourth quarter, you saw how tired they were, especially on defense. And then on offense, LeBron James I think he only had like 1 shot in the fourth quarter. Like, these guys were gassed and they were trying to bide their time in different possessions, whether it was on the defensive end or the offensive end. And it all culminated in 13 points in the fourth quarter and a complete lack of execution and mental fortitude down the stretch. And so, to be honest, it kind of felt like JJ Redick was grasping at straws and sort of panicking, kind of the way we saw Darvin Ham panic last season as well. And again, I don't blame him. This is all par for the course when it comes to a rookie head coach. And you just hope that JJ Redick has learned. Hopefully he's in more of a Zen state for game 5 and plays with and coaches with more of a go down swinging mindset. Hopefully he has that burden and monkey off his back, because the expectations are the Lakers are going to lose this series. So hopefully he can just coach freely. But most of all, I hope he just, goes back to what made him so successful this season. And that was emboldening his players, trusting his players, not doing weird galaxy brain things. Like, if this is going to be our last game, then go down with the full group of guys that you sort of built up to get to this point, you know? So, yeah, that's my number two biggest main issue for why the Lakers are faltering in this series, the rookie coach growing pains, because JJ Redick has been massively outcoached by Chris Finch. All right, number three main reason why I think the Lakers have suffered in this series, and I think this is the most underrated talking point of this series. It's not that the Lakers have been terrible defensively, that's the most shocking part. It's the fact that the Lakers have been terrible offensively that has been so surprising. Their lack of execution down the stretch, their consistent fourth quarter cratering, and reliance on freelance isolation basketball, dribble, dribble, pull up three. Um, the fact that they don't have enough play calling and organized sets that they can go to, the fact that they do it in certain quarters but then totally abandon it when it matters the most in the fourth quarter has been absolutely infuriating. The fact that they have no go-to plays in the clutch, it's it's honestly mind-boggling. And you give a lot of credit to the Timberwolves for mucking up the passing lanes, mucking up what the Lakers want to do. They are physical, they are long, they have cut off driving lanes and made it a pain for guys like Austin Reeves to cleanly get into the lane and do the herky-jerky stuff that he likes to do. But the Lakers also haven't done themselves favors. They continually go away from what's been working in terms of play calls, organized sets, moving the ball around, having the ball find energy so that other players are involved and feel emboldened on the offensive end. Yeah, we too often revert back to isolation ball or just settling for 3-point jump shots. And especially when we're up by 8 to 10 points, we get comfortable and we lull ourselves into the most convenient, laziest thing that we can do. And that's just to chuck up a three. And so the Lakers being terrible on offense is really the number one reason why they are losing in this series. Defensively, we kind of knew that we had a cap on our ceiling, but we always thought, or at least I always thought, that the Lakers could lean on their offense because that was their biggest strength. And yet they have been the ones who have been stifled. They have been the ones who have looked rattled and shaken on the offensive end, especially in the clutch. When we thought it was the Timberwolves who were going to be the low basketball IQ team and that they were going to be the ones passing the ball all over the place and turning the ball. Instead, it's been the Lakers. And so, yeah, I think that's been the most frustrating part about this series, that the Lakers have just looked identityless because the one thing that you thought you could count on from them, they haven't been able to manifest in a consistent way. Hopefully, in game five, they go back to what sort of got them here in the first place. They run a lot of their off ball screening actions, get guys on the move, help guys get easy buckets. Hopefully, we see a lot more three-man game with LeBron James, Austin Reeves, and Luka Doncic setting inverted screens for one another and popping out, rolling to the basket, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, the Lakers' offense or lack thereof has been offensive, and it's been the number one reason why they haven't been able to make this more of a series. And then lastly, I kind of want to highlight Austin Reeves, and I don't want to make this sound like this is an indictment on Austin as a player. I think this is just a bad matchup for him. But the fourth reason why this series has turned out the way it has is because Austin Reeves has not looked like a true number three guy. When towards the end of this regular season, through like 30 games, he looked like a legitimate number three guy in the NBA. He was averaging like 23 points and 6 assists on very stellar shooting numbers. Coming into this series, even though we knew it might be tough for Austin Reeves, I think he had won himself the benefit of the doubt of being the clear-cut number three guy who was sort of matchup proof in a sense, even against a team like the Timberwolves. I thought we were getting white Kyrie Irving coming into the series. I thought we were getting West Coast Tyler Hero. Instead, what we've gotten from Austin Reeves is we've gotten Bogdan Bogdanovic, a really good three-point shooter, especially spot-up wise. He's been great, but when it comes to attacking the paint, putting pressure on the defense, playmaking, we really haven't gotten that part of Austin Reeves in this series. We've gotten good catch and shoot spot up Austin, which has still been very helpful. But coming into this series, I was hoping Austin Reeves would be the paint penetration for the Lakers. I thought he would attack Minnesota with his speed, his downhill driving ability. And instead, it hasn't turned out that way at all. Austin Reeves has sort of been stifled by Minnesota's length. He has wisely not over dribbled into the paint because the moment he does that, he's going to get the ball stripped from him. He's going to turn the ball over. He's going to get an offensive foul. But because of that, he's been relegated to being a spot up 3-point shooter. And so, again, this is not an indictment on Austin Reeves as a player. I still think he is the Lakers' third guy, but for this matchup in particular, he just can't do the herky-jerky, Manu Ginobili, knifing into the lane things he likes to typically do that make him so dynamic an offensive player against most other teams in the regular season. All right, so those are my 4 main reasons why I think the series has gone the way it has for the Lakers. Why don't we take it to break here? When we come back, I'll take a glass half full approach and highlight some things that may level out for the Lakers and help them get some momentum back in this series. All right, so we are back. Now, what are some things that the Lakers can hang their hat on? And what are some things on the Timberwolves end that may sort of level out to give the Lakers more of a margin for winning? I'm going to take a very simplified law of averages, this player is due approach to things, so just bear with me, and let's get right into it. Number 1, let's talk about Julius Randle, because he has been phenomenal in this series, and kudos to him. But at the same time, I think he's due for a bad game. Because check this out. Over the last 3 games, Julius Randle is averaging around 24 points. But more than that, he only has 3 turnovers in the last 3 games. Can you believe that? He has played a very, very clean series outside of game 1 when the Lakers were able to force 7 turnovers against him. On top of that, Julius Randle is also shooting 10 of 22 from 3 in this series. That is 45% from 3. In the regular season this year, he shot 34% from 3. You have to think that Julius Randle falls back to earth at some point. And if the Lakers are going to get back in this series, it has to be game 5. And maybe at crypto, the Lakers can go back to how they made him uncomfortable in game 1 when they forced him to 7 turnovers. So if the Lakers manage to pull it out in game 5, if the Lakers manage to win, I expect Randle to have a 3 to 4 turnover sort of game because the Lakers really pressured up on him. They really made him uncomfortable and they got him to be sped up. You know, that's the type of Julius Randle that we're sort of used to, the Tasmanian Devil Julius Randle, who's OC. But so far, especially in the last 3 games, he has looked like a better version of Karl Anthony Towns for the Timberwolves, the guy that they specifically traded for, you know? And so if the Lakers want to win this series, they have to turn the Julius Randle tide around. And again, we give all the credit to Julius Randle for sort of pushing back against the narrative of him being a playoff dropper. But if the Lakers want to win, they're going to have to make Julius Randle look like a playoff dropper once again. And I think there are some things they can do to bring out the worst in Randle. But yeah, I honestly just don't think that 10 of 22 from 3, 45% shooting is sustainable for Randle. And I don't think Randle only averaging 1 turnover a game in this series is sustainable, unless the Lakers defense really is just that soft. But you have to think the Lakers are going to come out desperate. All right, number 2, let's talk about Anthony Edwards, because Anthony Edwards has been even more otherworldly than Julius Randle. And kudos to Anthony Edwards for taking yet another leap in this postseason. The way he's taken over in the 4th quarter the last 2 games has been incredible. He had like 40 plus points the last game. But on top of that, in this series, he has been a tremendous playmaker. And like Julius Randle before him, Anthony Edwards has played relatively mistake-free in this series. He's only had 6 turnovers through the first 4 games in this series. 23 total assists, only 6 turnovers. In the regular season, Anthony Edwards averaged 4.5 assists to 3.2 turnovers. The difference in that assist to turnover ratio from his regular season to what he's doing against the Lakers is dramatic. And the Lakers just have to do a better job of making his life more uncomfortable, of going back to what they did in game 2 against him when he felt a little bit confused by the help that they were showing, by the zone defense that they were showing him, the way that they aggressively trapped him. the Lakers have to go all out and blitz Anthony Edwards in game 5 and hope that he starts to make mistakes, because I think Anthony Edwards is due for a sloppy game. And even though Anthony Edwards only had 2 turnovers in game 2, I think the thing that the Lakers did very well against him was they forced the ball out of his hands. And at times they did a great job of denying him of the ball in the first place so he didn't get the ball. So that's what the Lakers are going to have to do again. And like I said, I think we are owed an Anthony Edwards sloppy And like I said, I think we are owed an Anthony Edwards sloppy game. If we're not, then the series is over. Number 3, let's talk about the Lakers this time. I think the Lakers role players are due. The Lakers bench has been largely non-existent offensively all series. Outside of LeBron James, Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, and Rui Hachimura, LA has gotten nothing on the offensive end from any of the other guys. The Lakers bench currently is only averaging 7.4 points per game. Naz Reid from the Timberwolves bench alone is averaging 13.8 points per game. He's averaging 6.4 points more than the entire Lakers bench combined. Gabe Vincent is only shooting 4 of 11 from 3 through 4 games. DFS is only shooting 6 of 16 from 3 in 4 games. And neither Gabe nor Dorian Finney-Smith have hit double figures at all in any game this series. And in the regular season, how Gabe Vincent and Dorian Finney-Smith shot the ball from three-point land was a good litmus test for how the Lakers overall were doing. If both of those guys hit double figures and hit at least 2 or 3 threes each, it was almost guaranteed that the Lakers were rolling or blowing their opponents out. And so, can we get one game where Dorian Finney-Smith and Gabe Vincent shoot the lights out from 3? Because even though the Lakers have been shooting the lights out from 3 the last 2 games, hitting 17 threes and then 19 threes, a large portion of their threes have come from 2 or 3 guys. It's either been Austin Reeves hitting 5 threes, Rui Hachimura hitting 5 threes, Luka Doncic hitting 5 threes, but it hasn't been the whole collective Lakers team that has been hitting from 3, you know? So can we get a game where 5 different Lakers players hit at least 3 threes? If the Lakers are going to win, I'm hoping it happens in game 5 with Gabe Vincent hitting at least 3 or 4 threes, DFS hitting at least 3 threes, and then the other guys all sprinkling in, 2 threes here and there. And on top of that, based on what I said in the first half of this episode talking about the Lakers' offensive execution, you have to think that the Lakers are going to make their offense top of mind in game 5. And you have to think they're going to want to turn around the ways that they have melted down with their fourth quarter execution by coming out and placing a heavier emphasis on organized sets, more play calling, and more ball movement. So hopefully some of the other guys can benefit from that and get in on the action. Hopefully the ball can find energy and the Lakers can get into an offensive groove as a whole collective unit, not just the big 4. All right, so with that said, that'll do it for this episode. Before I continue rambling, I want to cut it off here to summarize my points of why I think the Lakers can have the tide shifted back in their direction. I think, to put it simply, I think Randall's due for a bad game. I think Ant is due for a bad, sloppy game at the very least when it comes to turnovers. And I think the Lakers bench is due. And hopefully the Lakers adjust and adapt to their faltering offense and really come out with the firepower in game 5. It's a do or die situation, and I expect LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, and company to be prepared to leave it all out on the line, sacrifice their body, and give us their best effort that we've seen in this series. So, yeah, here's hoping for the best. Good luck to anybody going to crypto.com arena on Wednesday. Hope you guys have fun. Hope it's a lit time. And yeah, let's go down swinging. With that said, follow us on Twitter/X at Lakers Legacy Pod. Please also subscribe to our YouTube channel, the same name, at Lakers Legacy Pod. Please also rate and review us 5 stars on the Apple Podcast app and Spotify app. And hopefully the next time we speak, I should have Tommy with me, and hopefully that's a good episode where we're not talking about the Lakers' demise, and maybe we're even recapping a Lakers Game 7 win as we prepare for the second round. But I'm not that delusional, so for now, one game at a time. Let's just cross our fingers, get Game 5 at the very least, and we will catch you guys after that. This has been Jonathan Hernandez of the Lakers Legacy Podcast, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.